Oh my, it told me.
All right, this is Jamie. Jamie is finished with Nourished and Free, and she's a new woman.
Yes.
Yes. Jamie, I would love for you to share what you were doing, specifically the program you were doing. Well, you don't have to like name names or anything, but what kind of program you were doing before you came into Nourished and Free.
Yeah. Okay, so before I was in Nourish and Free, I joined this workout program specific for moms because I was like, oh, good, they'll understand. And they would do fitness and nutrition and mental health kind of components. But when I was in it, basically what I learned was to count my calories with my fitness pal, um, like substituting foods. Essentially, it was a low fat diet and like be just concerned about certain carbs because there's good carbs and bad carbs. And and then just weightlifting.
Mhm.
Um, and then like the mindset things would be questions like, if you're not losing the weight that you wanted, like what did you do to do that? And like what does that say about you? And so just a lot of kind of guilt trips essentially. And then there's a Facebook group, so then people would post things kind of reinforcing like the good carbs and reinforcing um, different eating patterns like intermittent fasting or um, all like the Whole30. Like some people would do that, some people wouldn't. But it turned into like I would get obsessive because I would say, oh, well, this girl is doing this, so I'm going to do that because she's looking great. So I want to look like her. And so by the time I called up Michelle, I was eating like 1,200 calories for about 6 months. And like it was to the point where, and I know I've talked about it to Michelle, where I was like, I would be measuring lettuce leaves on a scale. And I would say, well, that's too much. Like, got to take that off because I needed to stay within my caloric intake level.
Mhm.
And I was trying to force myself into eat one meal a day because intermittent fasting is just apparently great according to this program, right?
Yeah.
And then again, like all the mindset things that I would think like, oh, well, I didn't get, my body fat percentage because I ate that one cookie the other day and my weigh-in results were not very good. And um, so I think I called up Michelle because I had eaten like a Costco size of peanut butter in like 2 days. And so I was like, well, this isn't good. Like, because I had just, like I had just introduced myself to a terrible relationship with food.
Mhm.
And I just was like, this isn't working. Like, this isn't sustainable. And meanwhile, as I'm eating 1,200 calories a day, minus like those random binge eating days, I would be lifting like an hour a day, like heavy weights too. I was lifting the most I've ever lifted. Like, I mean, workout wise, I was killing it. But it was like, it was also going off the deep end of if I don't get my workout in, I would have to self-reflect on that with the mindset part of the program. And then I'd feel bad that I did that wrong too,
Yeah.
minus my caloric intake. And that wasn't right either. So
Yeah. What did accountability look like in that program? Were you meeting with somebody one to one?
no.
Oh.
Um, and I mean, that was kind of the other part that made me start Googling, I wanted help with my nutrition because I felt like my nutrition my whole life hasn't been terrible. Like I don't think I've struggled with nutrition per se. I honestly had never done a diet program in my life except for this one. I've never counted calories until this one. And so I also know like I grew up in diet culture. Like I saw my mom do every single diet that's existed. And I'm naturally genetically thinner. compared to my family because I'm adopted. And so I would always be talked up even with my family of, oh, well, you're just so lucky that it's just easy for you. And so I kept trying to ask the coaches in this program. I was like, I just need some help with my nutrition because I've been doing, like when I was 3 months in to 1,200 calories every day, I was like, nothing's happening. I'm not losing weight. I'm not losing body fat percentage. I'm killing it in the gym. So I don't know. And they'd always just say, it's your nutrition. It's your nutrition. And so they said they looked at my MyFitnessPal and they basically were like, they're like, well, you're doing everything right. Like, you just got to let your body wait. And like, I was either told like to have more patience. Well, first I wouldn't get my questions answered for a while. So then I would just be like, I guess I'll keep doing it. Because nobody told me to stop. And then when I did, they would say, I need to wait longer and just keep eating, the 1,200 calories I'm eating. Or they would say, like, mess around with intermittent fasting. They would also say things like, I'm not pushing enough weight. So then that's when I keep pushing up more, like I'd start lifting even heavier. So that was a lot of the feedback I got, but it was all in the Facebook chat. Like I would try to message the trainer individually and I wouldn't get anything. So it I really didn't get a lot of like individualized care, if you will, especially with what I was seeing. I would get feedback from other women, but I mean, I kind of thought I'm paying this coach. I'm sure she could take 4 minutes to send me a message. Don't talk to me, just type it out.
Right. Yeah. And you can even do voice messages on Facebook. I mean,
Yes.
that takes
Yes,
30
we can.
seconds. Yeah, that's brutal. Yeah. So what do you think was different to you about going from, going from like the program that you were in and then seeking help with your nutrition? First of all, did you even think about trying a different approach, or were you just like, I need to get this nutrition thing under control to lose weight?
I figured it was my nutrition because I was like, my binge eating had gone up significantly after several months of very restricted eating. And mind you, pre this workout program, like in my life in general, I would randomly overeat or like get uncomfortably full, or binge eat. And that would be once in a while. But I always knew it was there. I always knew it was something that I should work on. But again, like the messages from my family was, well, it's okay. Like you're skinny, so it's okay. And so I just kind of accepted that that was just something I did. And then in this program with the restricted eating, my binge eating had gone up to like multiple times a week. And it like progressively got that way. It's not like, I mean, I did a solid, like I said, 3 months of just like restricted eating. And it wasn't until like I wasn't seeing results after month 3, I would start randomly binge eating and then it would increase in frequency. And that's when I called you. And so, so that now I've already lost what you asked. But
No, it's
I was
okay.
like, that was the biggest thing where I was like, I need to get my nutrition under control because I'm overeating. Like my husband had suggested trying like contacting a nutritionalist or somebody who specializes like in diet, like dietitian, nutritionalist. So then I started just Googling like the difference or trying to understand. For like a split second, I considered like hiring a macro coach because I was like, maybe my macros are off. Because that was a lot of what this group talked about too. They would say, oh, like you have to find your sweet spot of, the fat to carb ratio. Because bottom line is the fat always had to be low. But they're like, you have to find out like how low, I don't know.
Yeah.
So for a split second, I was looking into a macro coach, but I was like, I knew I wanted something sustainable, like something I could just do forever, minus my intense workouts. And, I just wanted to eat. like a
Yeah.
normal person
Just eat
and
normally.
not have rules to follow, because I just was like, that doesn't make sense to me to like eliminate a food, whether type or food in general, and then say, okay, we're going to add it back in. I was like, I just need someone to tell me how to eat like a normal person.
Yes.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you now can eat without rules and eat like a normal person?
Yeah. Easily. So easily. Yeah.
Good.
Like, oh, thank God. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But
amazing.
I mean, and it truly, because I had seen on Instagram, people who were like, "Oh, food freedom, like I can eat what I want." But in my mind, I was like, that just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I truly couldn't wrap my head around it, because it
Mm,
came off as, oh, well, they truly eat cake every day or cookies every day. And that worried me, because I was like, well, that's not sustainable either. It just came down to truly understanding what
right.
food freedom means. And I think you explained it in a way where I was like, this is actually applicable. And it means I'm not eating one type of food every day, or
Yeah.
eliminating this type of food every day.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's such a common thing too, is from the outsider's perspective, it looks like
Yeah.
food freedom, intuitive eating is this like crazy concept of we're going to eat whatever we want. And so therefore that means we have cake for breakfast, ice cream for lunch, brownies for dinner,
Seriously.
and soda
Yeah.
every 2 hours. And so then people are like, well, that can't be right either, which is exactly what you just said, like that's
Yeah.
not sustainable either. And it takes like it's such a layered concept. It's not just like a cookie cutter, like, here we go, this is what you do, this is how many macros you eat, and then you have achieved food freedom. It's like, no, we got to really do some work. And then you can get to a place where whatever you want to eat actually changes all the time and your body regulates it so that you have food freedom and you're nourished and
Hmm.
fueling your body for your activities, getting stronger, all those things, and preventing disease. And it's you can't just like figure that out how to do that from Instagram alone, right? Like there's a lot of root
Oh,
work
yeah.
to be done.
So many layers. Yeah.
So many layers. Yeah. Yeah. You mentioned that you got to a point where through restriction in the program you were in, where it was severely restricting calories, encouraging the MyFitnessPal and everything. You got to a point where you were binge eating. Did you say how many times a week was it?
Oh, gosh. I'm sure it was at the end when I contacted you. I'm pretty sure it was up to like three,
Okay.
maybe four times. It was more than half of the week.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
3 to 4 times a week, you're binge eating. How many
Yeah.
times
And
a
that
week?
truly came like when I added in the intermittent fasting, like the correlation of intermittent fasting and my binge eating, like up there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you used to be binge eating 3 to 4 times a week. How many times a week are you binge eating now?
None. I can't, the last time I was doing the binge eating was in that program, because when I started yours and like started the lesson plans, I haven't done it since. And that's crazy. Like, it's crazy because I remember the me in the program, and I truly was just like, this is forever. And then even pre that program, like I said, I would randomly binge eat, um, just because I thought that was what I do. And I I haven't struggled with that either. Just randomly it coming up for me. Yeah.
How does that feel?
Amazing. Because I truly did think, oh, it's just something I do because my family said I can. It was like, yeah, just it's so different now. Yeah.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Another thing that we do in Nourished and Free is work through body image and that concept, which is yet another topic that is so layered. Again, there's no cookie cutter solution there. And that was something that we did work on a lot with you. So what was your how would you describe, I guess, how you felt in your skin confidence wise before you started versus now?
I think it's definitely gotten better. Um, and I think because when I first started, just like with the program before this, I had started because I didn't feel good about my body. I had just had two babies, and clearly my body was not pre-baby. And so wrapping your head around that, in addition to sleep deprivation, you just don't feel pretty, or you don't feel like comfortable in your skin, right? Um, and so what's funny is in that last program, it was just constant comparing yourself to all the other women in the program. And not only that, but it was encouraged to like make a vision board or have visual aids of like dream bodies and like, your ideal body that you hope to create with this workout program.
Yikes.
And so in yours, I, it was great because it kind of just not only helped me learn what appropriate bodies look like, um, but I truly now, when I'm just doing day-to-day things like at the store or like out in public, when I see other bodies or body types, I see them so differently now, like just with with like neutrality or positivity. And when I see others that way, it makes me feel more confident in myself because, hindsight, now I know that when everything was in such a competitive way of like, well, look at that person's body, they look amazing, then that was subconsciously insulting my own body because, of course, I didn't look like that.
Mhm.
Or if I was putting down someone's body because I didn't deem them as like, beautiful or appropriate, then that too would be putting myself down as well. Because if I had any glimpse of similarity, then that would be saying that about me. So I feel like it's not only improved just my own opinion of my body and my body image, but of others as well, um, which I certainly was not expecting or realized was a concept. And I didn't even realize that was a concept intertwined with diet culture because it's, I don't know, just so ingrained, right?
Yep.
In social media and the media. Yeah.
Yeah. That's awesome. Not only did you improve how you view yourself, but now you can view others more positively too.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's so, so good. So, Jamie, with somebody that's considering enrolling in Nourished and Free, let's say that they're coming from a similar background as you, maybe they're a mom, or maybe they're coming off of a program that was heavy in restriction, vision boards, fear-based coaching, in terms of like, what did you do wrong? Why did you do that
Right.
wrong? I would call that fear-based coaching. And not really having support. What would you say to somebody considering enrolling in
I
Nourished and
would
Free?
say in Nourished and Free, yeah, I mean, truly, I would say Nourished and Free it's one of those programs where I think at first I would assume it's if you've done diets your whole life, right? Then go into this because you'll learn how to view food without all the rules of diet. And and like I said before, even before this last program, I'd never really done a diet before this, but I also know that I grew up in a culture with diet culture, with body image rules, and and so just that alone, Nourished and Free has taught me so much more about what we're taught or told is appropriate eating or body image or just anything that fits with that, whether it's even exercise too, because you're in a component with that as well. And so it made me realize this is something that's so applicable to truly anybody who's just grown up in this culture and
Mhm.
wants to have food freedom, like truly wants to feel like they can eat whatever they want and not feel guilty about it or feel like there's any emotional connection to it beyond hunger and fullness. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's just very applicable to any type of person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So everybody should do it.
Absolutely everybody. But just anybody who has struggles with food or body image, or both, because they're, intertwined,
Yeah.
and just, to find a healthy balance with it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So do you feel like what you were hoping to achieve at the end of Nourish and Free, are you there?
I would say so. What's funny is I think initially I was like, I'm still gonna learn like the right and wrong foods because I think you're always under the impression that there's right and wrong foods.
Yeah.
So I certainly like learned there's really it's those weren't even the right terms I was going for because I don't have right or wrong anymore. And I think I know I came to you because I was like, I want to stop binge eating and I want to know how to just eat. And that's what I learned. I can eat whatever I want and I'm confident in that rather than feeling guilty or feeling bad about that. So
So,
absolutely.
so good, Jamie. You're such a
Yeah.
rock star. You did such a good job of showing up and being a faithful client and putting in the work. I mean, you were really motivated to make this happen. I remember your enrollment call. You're just like, yeah, I'm done with this. Like, I'm sick of this. I don't want to I went through peanut butter in 2 days and I was just mad and I want to make a change, and
Yeah.
you just got after it.
Yeah.
And I think that's a really important, we joked around about this being for everybody, but it's actually not. You have to be committed to, I don't want to be a part of diet culture anymore. I don't want to
Yeah.
subscribe to that narrative. I actually want to feel good in my body and
Mhm.
not have conditions on it and not have conditions on food either. And otherwise, if you don't feel that way, then this is just going to be in one year out the other.
Yeah,
And it,
absolutely.
it takes work. I feel like this process is we get pretty deep into who you are.
Yeah.
So you've got to be committed. So yeah, if anybody's watching this right now and you feel like, man, I resonate with Jamie, I resonate with her story, and I want that too, then send me a message and let's get a free consultation hooked up so that we can see if this is the right fit for you. Because just like Jamie put in the work and now is completely free from food rules that she was taught, and now she feels good in her skin, you can have
Yeah.
that too. So, Jamie, I thank you so much for sitting down with me today and for being an awesome
Yeah.
client and trusting me in this process.
Yeah, absolutely. You're a great coach and so easy to talk to and laid back. So I really appreciate it.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you have an awesome rest of your week and let's keep in touch. Okay.
All right.
Awesome. Talk to you later, Jamie.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.